as you can see on the screen, we are working with the variables, conditional statements, loops, functions, oops, in Python. For a beginner who has to go for an interview, these are the concepts which are very, very important. So we are going to cover all the concepts in one single video so that it will be easy for you to, understand the concept rather than searching for multiple videos over there. Okay, let me start with the variables. Variables where we can store the value. We know that in any programming, whether it's a C, whether it's C++, whether it's Java, whether it's Python, we need variables for storing the values. So in Python, you have to remember that there is no declaration of variables like in other programming. We need to mention the data type. Here we are just putting n here. N is a variable and we just store the value here like this. We need not to put any semicolon. We need not to put anything after it. That's it. This is the way how we have to store. That's the reason why Python is so popular. We don't have to worry about the declaration part like we were putting var in case of JavaScript, or we are putting in other conventional programmings like int, or like we were trying to put. But here Python says you need not to worry. You just put a variable, you just assign the value, that's it. Now if you want to print it, so there is a one function particular that is called as print, not f, just you have to use print with the parenthesis, and just you want to print the variable, you just put n inside that, that's it. If you just try to run the code, that is if you click on the play button, you will see the current value it is, that is you will get 89 without any syntax error, isn't it? Very good. So in 2 lines of code, I am able to write the code. If you have worked with C programming or C++ programming, there we have to put %d, format specifiers with the variables, with the comma, with the double quotes and all, with the proper semicolons and all. But in Python, we don't require these things. So this is basically very, very easy for a beginner to learn it, isn't it? Okay, so this is working with variables. In this way we can work with the variables and we can go with the variables, and we can see different types of variables we can use with. Here in Python, one more thing is very interesting. We need not to worry about that we have to declare. For example, y is equals to, I say there is a name Annie, and I say this is a name and I just want to print it. So you just say print here, that's it, print y. You need not to worry whether it's a string, whether it's a float number, whether it's an integer number. It will automatically, the compiler of Python will automatically recognize it and it will print for you. Just you have to mention the print statement. So this is how this is very easy in case of we need not to put /n for the new lines also. So in this way you can work with the variables and all. So you can use different types of variables, whether it's a integer, char or float or a type. So in this way, this is the how you are going to work with the integers variables or the decimal variables or the string variables. You can work with the numbers, like you can input the data, you can do anything whatever you want to. For example, you want to assign multiple values to a particular. One more thing is here, in case of Python, in conventional programmings, if you just go with this, that's fine. If I just want to say, if I say n is equals to again and I say mini, so see, if you just try to run the code, it will reassign the value 89 to that. Name y is not found. The reason is because I am printing y here, so I have to print n. So now if I just try to run the code, it is reassigning the value, that is mini, and mini will be 2 times, not the 89, because we have reassigned the value. But in conventional programmings like C, C++, if you have worked with, see here we can't use double slash for the comments. For comments we need to put hash sign here, hash, that is a shift with 3, so you need to put hash with it, and I can put a comment here. So this is an integer type here, and this is now character type. So in case of C programming, or in case of C++ programming, or in Java, so if you are putting a data type int, you can't convert it into string. Now you can't reassign it, then you have to you have to typecast it and or different ways. But in Python it is saying no worries, you can reassign the value, whatever you want to assign you can reassign. So in case of C, in case of C++, it is not possible. If you have declared a data type, you need to put the value of that type, not the other one. So in Python it is also this, you can assign multiple values, you can assign different values to a particular variable. Okay, there is one more funda which is there in Python, which was not there in other programmings. Assigning multiple values at a time is somewhere like this also. If I just delete this, I just show you. If I'm in earlier programming, what we were doing, n is equals to 90, okay, then m is equals to 89, then for example t is equals to 78. In this, Python says you need not to put it in a 3 lines. Here you can do one thing. Instead of this, what you will do, you just do like this, m, this is n comma m comma t, and equals to say 90 comma 89, interesting, 78. Now what you will do, you just delete this portion, and if you just enter print n, for example I want to print n, or you can print all the values. If I just try to run the code, it will not give you any error that you have done wrong thing, you have assigned the multiple values at a time. It will not give you any error for that. So now I can assign the multiple values at the same time, and it is not necessary that multiple values should be integer. It can be, for example, if I put double quotes here, it will not give you an error. And if you want to print the second value, the respectively, which value is it? It is m. So if I say print m, so I just click on this, I just run it, it will display you in a string value. So it is treated as a string. You can put here anything, any random text here. So if you just try to run the code, it will give you the value, isn't it? So it is giving. So in this way, variables are working here in Python. In Python, there is very easy method of declaring the Python, the very easy of assigning the Python, and you can take the output of that with the help of print statement. And in this way, variables are there. So variable names, the rules for the variable name is as same as other programmings. Your variable name must be start with a letter or underscore. It should not be start with a digit. We know that. So these are the things which you have to always remember of variables. In this way, you can you can work with basically with the variables, and you can handle the different data types which you have handled in the other programmings. If you have not, then don't worry. This is the way how you are treating the variables. Now, more about the variables. If I just, for example, want to add the two numbers together like I was doing in other programmings, how we are going to work with. So we will assign the value like this, and we will assign the value like this, and that's it. If I say print and I just put n plus m, earlier I was doing the same, and I click on the screen, and now I just try to run the code, and I'll see whether I'm getting the output. Yes, I am getting the output. Is that clear? Now if we are working with C, C++ or Java, there are the input statements for the getting the input through the keyboard. That is like scanf is there, or you can say scanner class is there. In Python, what is the method? So in Python, what we are going to work with, we will say n is equals to input, and there is a function, and inside the function we will say enter the first number. In this way you can work with. Okay, so just you have to put the printf statement here. If you remember C programming, or if you don't know the C programming, don't worry, you have to put the message here, and input will handle for the keyboard scanner. That means it will scan for it. So this is the message which we will get in the output screen, and this input will blink for the cursor, and we will put an input. We will see that. So if I put it like this, input here also, so enter the second number. Okay, this is the thing. So now if I just try to run the code, and I'll see whether it's working or not. Enter the first number, I'm saying 78 is the first number. Enter the second number, I'm saying like this. But what exactly it is giving? It is not giving the addition of two numbers. It is giving 78 plus 90. That is, it is concatenating. If you remember the term combining, it is just combining the term. It is not adding them together. So what is the, you can say, drawback, or what is the problem with the program? Because you have to always remember, I just put hash here for the comment. You have to remember always, by default input statement will always take the string value. String means, you can say text. If you are a beginner, it will always treat it as a text value. That means you are a text. For example, if I just try to run the code, instead of enter the first number, if I say some random any and some mini here, so it will display you any mini. That is a text. That means it is treating it as a text. It is not treating it as a number. Now the question arises, I want to treat it as an input, as an integer. So how we are going to work with? We have to use one more thing here, that is called as typecasting. We have to convert it into integer. So we will say int here, int, int, that is an integer. We just put a parenthesis here. If we are opening with the parenthesis, then we have to close it with the parenthesis. So I'm just putting one more parenthesis. Now if you just try to run the code here, before that we just need to change this also, int, and we just go with this, and there is an opening, so we need to closing also. So we will just close it, and if you just try to run the code now see the magic. If I say again 78 is a variable, 89 is the next variable, now it's giving me 167. That is the addition of the two numbers. I can use for the different operators, plus, minus, hash, that is divide, remainder, that whatever you want to go with, you can go with. But this is the how an operation can be performed in Python. So you need to convert it into other than the string. If the float is there, then you need to put in, instead of this int, you need to put float. So I think it is clear to you. So in this way, you are able to make the calculation part of the, you can say, Python program. So this is about how Python is going to work with the variables in Python. Okay. Conditional statement says, conditional statement means, now if for example there are the two variables and I want to check which number is greater or which number is smaller. So what I do, there is a one thing called as if. if means you want to put a condition here. So condition means if n is greater than m, I say if it is greater than. So before I was putting a parenthesis in other conventional programmings. Here in Python it says I need not to put any parenthesis with it, but yes, of course, what we need to put a colon after the condition. I say if n is greater than m, then enter. This thing you have to remember, it has to be indent inside it. If you put the statement here, it will not, it will show you an error. I'll show you that. So if I just tab it here and if I say print and I say the first number is larger. Okay, now here this is the thing. If I just try to run the code this time and if I just try to put the larger one here, 89, and the second is 78, so it is giving you the answer, that is first number is, that is on the basis of true and condition. That is, if the condition is true, it will execute the first part. Otherwise, if we have written the other part, it will execute that. We will see that also. But our concentration is here is indentation is very, very important in Python. That is a main thing which you have to remember. What does it mean? If I just put it print here, you will see the red light is there. If I just try to run the code, it will show you error like this: indentation error, expected an indented block after if. So this is the main thing which you have to always and always remember whenever you are working with Python. Indentation is required in case of Python. Okay, so that means what, whatever that is inside, you need to put it inside. So for example, I'm saying if the condition is true, then execute this, and I want other condition also, that for else, and then I need to put a colon every time, and then inside that I say print second number, or second number is larger, whatever you want to, or greater. Okay, this is a suggestion it is giving. So if I just try to run the code and I'll see enter the first number 78, enter the second number 89, second number is larger. So it is giving. In this way you can work with the other programs also for if else. In this way you can put the conditions. If you want different conditions for it, if you want elaborate video on it, please let me know on comment, because today I'm just focusing on clearing the basic concept of each and everything which is written above. Okay, so conditional statement means whenever there is a particular condition and I want to make sure that if the condition is true, it should execute this. If the condition is false, it should execute the second part. That's about your conditional statement. Okay, when we talk about the looping part of looping means when I have a problem like this. For example, there is print and I say hi. If I just try to run the code, for example, it will print you one time, that is hi. If I say there is a program which says the hi should be printed 20 times. The first approach will be, what I do, the first approach will be, I just say print again and I say hi. How many times I will do it? Okay, one second, here something is missing, so I say hi here. Okay, so how many times I have to, either I have to type it or I say control C, I say enter, control V, enter, control V, enter, control V. So if 10 number of times it has to be displayed, so I have to print it 10 number times, isn't it? So that means I have to copy paste it or I have to type it. Maybe I can say 1000 times I want to print it. So that time I say if there is one shortcut, that is called as the concept of looping. That is called as the concept of looping, which is written above. So the concept of looping. Looping means whenever we want to repeat. So this thing you have to always and always remember as a beginner. Whenever I want to repeat something, I use the concept of loop. In conventional programmings, if you have worked with them, or either with C or C++ or with Java, if you have worked with them, then you must have done the concept of looping over there for the repetition of something. Okay, in Python, looping are of two types. Two main basic loops are there. One is called as while and another is for. So these are the main primitive loops. You can say these are the basic loops over there in Python, by which you can, repeat anything. How we are going to work with? You have to always remember this thing. Whenever we are working with looping, it requires three types of statements. Three statements. One, it requires some initial value. Okay, it requires some final value, and it can increment or it can decrement. This thing you have to always remember. Okay, so looping, that means if I say while, means till the condition is true. But what condition is true? So I say I started with I is a variable, I initialize it 1, and I say when you are going to reach I less than equals to 10, when you are going to reach to the 10, then I need not, if I put a colon here or any other thing, so I need to put a colon for that the condition is started with the while. So when you are using if, when you are using while, when you are using looping concept, you need to put the colon here, and I say print. So indentation is there. Print what? I say print I. Okay, If I just try to run the code, it will infinitely print the same thing 1 1 1 1. You can see on the screen. See, if I scroll it up, it will see only 1 1 1 infinitely. Why it is happening here? Because I have initialized 1 and I'm saying I is less than 1, 10. So condition here is always true. So 1 is always less than 10 and it is going to print 1. My condition should be terminate somewhere. So what I do, after this, I say I is equals to I plus 1. That means you have to increment it by one step. So first time I will be 1, second time 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, then 7, then 8, then 9. And when the 10 will be there, it will be, and when 11 is, it will terminate. So you have to say condition will be false now when the 11 is there, right? So that means whatever you have to print here, whatever the statement you have put, it will print that numbers. Now if I just try to run the code and I'll get it, so I'm not getting anything here. The reason, if I just try to run the code again, sometimes the compiler shows something, so we will just go with that. Why it is saying I is equals to 1, I'm saying print I less than equals to 10, and I'm saying print, okay, one more thing, I is equals to I plus 1. It should not give me any error. It should display 1 2 3 4 5 6 like that. So it should go with that. Why it is not going? We will just try to run the code again. Yes, so sometimes compiler takes the wrong arguments and all, otherwise the program was right. Now that was not question was we have to display 10 times high. So instead of this I just put double quotes and I just say high. So if I just try to run the code, this time I just get 10 times high. That's it. If you want to confirm it, you can just put with the I, then you say plus. That means it is going to put I also and it is going to put high also. So I is incremented. Okay, I have used plus sign. Sometimes plus sign is not valid for, so we would put comma with it. You need to put comma basically. So run it and just see. So 1 high, 2 high, 3 high, and up to 10 high. That means I'm going to print the high statement 10 times. If it is clear, so we can convert this program in your for loop also. So for loop is very fast loop where we need not to put all the initialization part and increment part. It is auto increment. So how we are going to work with the for? If I convert this program to the for, how I will go with? So I just say whether I require any I is equals to 1, that is initialization in case of for, or I don't require anything here. So if I just go with the for statement, how I am going to go work with the for statement? So what we will do, we will just say here, instead of this, here I say for I in range. I need to put a range here. I say starting with the 1 ending with 11. You are not able to see, now you will. 1 starting with the 1 ending with the 11, because in case of for, it will always limit it less than 1. So if I put 10, it will reach to 9. If I put 11, it will reach to 10. So range is a function which is required for the for. So I is a variable. You need not to put initial. It will take initial from this, final from this, and we need not to use this increment now. See now the difference. Now if I just try to run the code and see whether I am getting the same output, yes, I am getting the same output. If I change the value from this, if I say 5, that means I said 5 minus 1, that means 4 times. Now my 4 times display should be there. 1, 2, 3 and 4. In this way you can work with the looping concepts. So looping is a thing which is there in a for I in range I comma 5, and in this way you can work with. So this is the concept, that is looping. Whenever we have to repeat something, we are using the concept of looping. Done. So that means this thing is done. Now this is done. You can just rewind the video and you can just check it, and this is done. For the interview purpose, now it's done. All the 3 topics are done. Now we have to move to the functions. What is functions? Functions are used for doing a specific task for us. We want to do some particular task for, then that time we use the functions. So we just go with the one particular program and we will see the basics of it. If you really want detailed video on it, then you put on a comment and I'll definitely make a detailed video on that. So functions means it is used for doing a specific, okay, I'm again trying to put it in a like this. So functions means it is for specific. One line definition for interview. So specific task. Whenever you have to work with a specific task. So how you are going to make a function? So you will start with a def, and for example fun is a function, put a parenthesis, put the colon, and whatever the function you want to write, you can write it. If you say print I am a function, you can make any operation here, but I'm just putting this. If you try to run the this program, and you will say, okay, this is a function, just go with it. So it will not do anything. If you just try to run the code, it will not display you anything, because you had made this function for us by declaring with the def, that is a compulsory, that is a keyword you need to use with function name, that is a fun is a function name, it is a function, that's why we have put parenthesis with it, and colon you have to, and indentation which is inside, so you need to. But why it is not working? Because the reason is here, you need to call it. Call it means like print is a function, you are calling it. So fun is my own user defined function. So there are two types of functions. One is called as system defined, that is also called as, I just put it here, one is called as system defined, SDF, and another is called as UDF, that is user defined functions. So SDF is system defined functions, UDF is user defined functions. So system defined functions we know, like print is there, like input is there, they are the system defined functions, we just have to use them. This is my own function which I have created. I can call it, I can make any name here. For example, if I want display is a name of a function, that is not inside, I have created it. So I created it, that means this is the body of a function. You can say this is the function body, but where I call it, so compiler has to give that, we have to give the call for it. So what is the call, how it is going to, just you need to put the name with the parenthesis, that's it. But that indentation should not be tabbed like this, you have to call it in the same level where the def is. If you enter, you can just take there's some space between it, so that this is a portion which is used for call, this is for calling, and this is the function body, you can see where called has to be, so we say function body. Okay, so what actually is happening here, compiler will not go here first, compiler will go line number 10 and it will execute from this, and then from the line number 10 it will jump to the line number 6. If I just try to run the code, this time output will be there, so it says I am a function. In this way you can work with the functions. Hope you understand the concept of functions which is there. There are the other things also related to the functions, function categories and all. I will definitely make sure in future I'll make a particular video on it, but this time it is a video for the interview level. If somebody will ask you these questions, you should know how exactly the functions are. Okay, if you really want a detailed video on it, let me know in comments, I definitely make a video on it. So def display is a function, and in this way we can call it. Okay, now this is done. Now the last is oops, and that is a very important concept whenever we are working with the programming. And you can say in project world, as a developer, oops concept is very important. Oops means object oriented programming. So object oriented programming means here now we have to make sure that everything should be in a box, that is it should be created with the objects, right? So what you will do, you will make a box and you can put the function inside that. So how you are going to make a box, you will just declare it with a class. So we will say class is a box where we are going to make sure that everything should be encapsulated, everything should be in that particular thing. So we say okay, it's a concept of objects and classes. So I have to declare a class and then the class name, whatever the class name you can say. I say for example my class name is my, and I can put M capital, I need to put it like this, or you can put any name whatever you want to. For example, I say class name is person, I am putting it like this, the class name is person. And every time I told you that what you have to do, whenever you are declaring something, you have to put a colon here. And now you can make sure that you can put the variables inside, or you can put the functions inside, whatever you can do. But one thing you have to always remember, while calling you have to make the object of it. Object is like a variable which is used for creating and which is used for calling the members of the class. How we are going to, we will see. So what you have to do, you have to, for example, if you say here, what you will do, you will say def. Earlier you were using the functions, now I say def. If I say fun here, and if I just put it like this, and if I put a colon here, and if I say print double quotes, hi, I am in class. Okay, so this is the thing. So main is a box is class. I have encapsulated this def fun here, that is inside, and inside the fun I have created this. If I just try to run the code, this time also it will not give anything because I have not called the function. If I just call the function, if I say oh, I randomly, as I have told earlier, I just call it like this. Earlier I was calling and it was working, this time it will not work. If I just try to run it, it will say like this, name fun is not defined, but it is defined. Yes, it is defined, but it is not outside, it is inside person. So something we have to do with this, something that means it is inside a box. So we have to create the object of it. Object means it is a variable which is the type of that box. So if I say P is a variable and I say I want to allocate that variable for it, I say I want to allocate the you can say the variable. So I say P is equals to, and if I put it like this, person, put it like this, and this time if I put P dot fun, see automatically it is giving me. And if I put it like this and if I run it, and I just see I'm getting, okay, one more thing, this thing will be there. Okay, if you are running, it is working, but it is giving you an error for fun takes 0 positional arguments. It says if you are working with the functions inside the class, so something needs. So here you need one keyword that is called as self, SELF. So do the wrong things and then do the right things. So now it is able to give you the output. Hi, I am in class. So what you learn from it, so you need to make a variable which is type of class, and you make it when you say P dot. If I say, now see again, if I say P dot, automatically you will say it is suggesting you that the fun is inside that now, right? So P is basically a special variable which will allocate as much as memory which is required by this person class. I think it is clear to you. And this self is mandatory in case of when you are declaring a function, declaring a method inside the person. So in Python, we say functions or methods. You can call it, either you are calling it method or you are calling it function, the same thing is there. So you need to mention the self for, at least one variable should be there. So self, sometimes students are very doubtful, and they are always putting it like, okay, whether it is necessary to put self with it. No, you can take any name here, whatever, but for universal conventional, we use this self. That means so that everybody should understand that. So self. So now P.fun will give you the value. What is the difference between before what we were doing and now what we are doing? Now it is inside a box. That means it is not affected by the external world, and now it is in a particular box, and in particular box we have encapsulated it, wrapped in it. Whenever I require, then and then I can access it, isn't it? Hope this is clear to you, all the concept. If next time you are going for an interview, just make a revision of this with the help of this video. I make sure that each and every question which is asked in an interview I have put in this video, and I think this is clear to you. If you really find my videos and content useful or meaningful, put a thumbs up, share this video with your friends, subscribe the channel. I'll meet you in the next chapter of programming. Till then, take care. Bye bye.